Brancatelli, Chairman of Development Planning Sustainability Committee. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Brancatelli.
Here.
Cleveland. Griffin. Hairston.
Here.
Busher Jones. Slight.
Present.
McCormick.
Present.
Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much. The Development Planning Sustainability Committee hearing is being held during COVID-19 emergency declaration in accordance with Ohio's open meeting laws as amended by sub HB 197. This meeting is being held using the Zoom platform and is being live streamed on YouTube and on Cleveland's Channel 20. It also can be seen on Cleveland City Council website and from Council's Facebook page. In accordance with Ohio open meeting regulations as amended by sub HB 197, notice of this committee hearing was publicly posted. The committee hearing will be conducted as all committee hearings in accordance with the council rules and also the Roberts Rules of Order. The chair will facilitate the meeting and call one person to speak. If you wish to speak, please use the raise your hand option on Zoom, and please limit your comments to the matters before today's committee. As is usual practice, any actions to be voted on during the committee will be done by voice vote, called and recorded by the committee clerk. Welcome, everybody. We have a number of pieces on the agenda, and I have a couple of guests in the room. So I will jump to 7/13/2020 by council members McCormick, Cleveland, B, Jones, Brancatelli, and Kelly by department request, approving the expansion of the downtown Cleveland Improvement District, accepting the petitions from the owners of the property in the proposed district as expanded, and approving the amended articles of incorporation of the Downtown Cleveland Improvement Corporation, approving the comprehensive services plan for the continued operations of the district and declaring it necessary to provide for additional security, cleaning, maintenance, and economic development and marketing of the district, and providing for the assessment of the cost and expense of such work upon benefited property in the district, and declaring an emergency remarks and declaring this an emergency. Remarks by city planning, and we have Joe Marinucci and other guests present. So Jamie, is this you?
Nope, not me for this one, Councilman.
Matt Sprons was on. Is Director Sprons still on?
Yes, he is.
Who is on speaking on 7/13/2020?
Mr. Chairman, I'd imagine it would either be licenses and assessments or findings from the administration side.
Mr. Chairman, this is Joe Marinucci. If I could note, I believe the legislation was routed through city planning, if I'm not mistaken.
It is.
I'm sorry.
Yes, it is. All right, so if we could have someone check to see who from planning is coming to speak on this, we will set this aside for now. Let's jump back to the top of the agenda then. 443-2020 by council members McCormick, Johnson, and Brancatelli by department request. Authorize the Director of Capital Projects to issue a permit to DL Rentals LLC to encroach into the public right-of-way beneath West 20th Place by installing, using, and maintaining an underground electrical conduit. Remarks by Director of Office Capital Projects. That would be
yes, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, DI Rentals LLC is coordinating efforts with the Illuminating Company to eliminate a series of old poles, transformers, and low-hanging wires from the West 20th Place alley. So they need this in order to put some of this conduit underground. We do have consent from Councilman McCormick for this encroachment.
Okay, Councilman McCormick.
Move for approval, Chair.
Thank you very much. Any questions? I do, let me double check. I do not see any hands raised. No further questions. 443-2020 stands approved as read. Thank you very much. 444-2020 by council members McCormick, Johnson, and Brancatelli by department request. Authorize the Director of Capital Projects to issue a permit to Hadass, is that the hopefully correct pronunciation, Hadass Window Pane LLC to encroach into the public right-of-way of Prospect Avenue by installing, using, and maintaining one embedded brass medallion, one trash receptacle, 4 bronze benches, 8 bronze, and 9 concrete planters. Remarks by Director of Capital Projects.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, this project is a renovation and adaptive reuse of the historic May Company building that fronts on Public Square and backs up to Prospect Avenue. The build out of over 300 and 1 and 2 bedroom apartments will bring an influx of residential capacity to the downtown area and renovate that particular building and also has some off-street public and private parking for the businesses as well. We do have consent from Councilman McCormick for this encroachment.
Councilman McCormick?
Thank you, Chair. I would just say that I fully support this legislation, and if any of our members have not seen the May Company building recently, they did a beautiful historic rehab of one of Cleveland's most important buildings on Public Square. So I'd encourage folks to take the bus down and check it out. Thank you.
Or you can take a scooter as well from City Hall. So I do not see any hands raised. Any questions on 444 2020? I can't wait until we can gather again so we can take a tour of that beautiful building. The next piece, 444 2020 stands approved as read. The next piece we have is 445 2020 on Councilmember McCormick Day. Council members McCormick, Johnson, and Brancatelli by department request, authorizing the Director of Capital Projects to issue a permit to Ohio City Legacy LLC to encroach into the public right-of-ways of Lorraine Avenue, West 25th Street, and Garing Street by installing, using, and maintaining basement shoring, tie-back rods, a building canopy, and 2 building-mounted pylon signs. Remarks by Director of Capital Projects, Director Sprons.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, the program at Market Square will feature 298 new apartments and nearly 40,000 square feet of retail space that will bring a dynamic mix of new to-market retail and restaurant uses, as well as further expand the daily needs offerings of residents in the Ohio City Tremont neighborhood. We do have consent from Councilman McCormick for this encroachment.
Councilman McCormick.
Thank you, Chair. This is a part of the project at 25th and Lorraine that has gone through all approval processes to this point. If folks are not familiar with it, we can get them information, but this is across from the West Side Market. And again, this project has gone through all the design and other approvals to this point.
Great. Any questions on 445 2020? No further questions. 445 2020 stands approved as read. Thank you very much. Continuing Councilman McCormick Day, Council members McCormick, Brancatelli, and Kelly by department request, authorizing the Director of Economic Development to enter into a tax increment financing agreement with Sustainable Community Associates or its designee to provide for the developer to make certain improvements to the Lincoln Building project, to provide for payments to the Cleveland Metropolitan School District, and to declare certain improvements to real property to be a public purpose. Director Ebersol.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So this ordinance would be the second ordinance authorizing the implementation of a non-school TIF in support of the redevelopment of the Lincoln Building, which is about a $24 million investment for the creation of a mixed-use building with 83 apartments and 6,500 square feet of commercial space on Scranton Road. The development team is led by Sustainable Communities, who's also developed the Ohio Awning Building, the Fairmont Creamery Building in that area. They've been working with PNC Bank on this project with some opportunity zone investment that's, along with our investment in the project, is going to enable them to keep 25% of the residential units at that 100 to 120% AMI workforce housing rent range. So it's a really cool project. It's great to see the amount of investment that this group has focused on that corridor, and look forward to supporting them in this investment and hopefully in the future.
Thank you, Director. Yes, we have seen this project a few times. Councilman McCormick.
Thank you, Mr. Excuse me. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To build a little bit off what the director said, again, I'm pleased that they are including 25% of the income restricted 100, 125 units in this building. In addition, they are participating in our neighborhood fund. As we move these types of pieces forward, it's important that developers are also listening to some of the concerns of neighborhood residents as well. And so they are going to be participating in things like signage for the neighborhood, some small home repairs and things like that for some of the folks in the community. So it's a good kind of framework for a model of not only how do we see investments like this in the community, but how do we also link it to neighbors who have been in the community, for a long time. So we're excited that we're, seeing a lot of progress on that front. This was also, Mr. Chairman, as you and I walked, you were a lot smarter than me when you wore boots, but I wore dress shoes and a suit to walk the APL property, which was a really bad idea. And anyways, wash that suit after that walk. But the point in me saying that, Chair, is that this was also in coordination with the APL. Obviously, they're right there. They're a critically important agency in our community. And, they made sure that APL had what they needed so that, any project there benefited and not, negatively impacted their mission. So this project has gone through quite a bit of community conversation and working with the neighbors and the neighborhood benefit fund and things like that. So I support this legislation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hold on one second. I am sending out passwords so one of our colleagues can join us. Any questions on 508-2020? Do I have any hands up on this one? I do not. We have seen this project and we're real excited about it. No further questions. 508-2020 stands approved as read. 557-2020 by Council Members McCormick, Santana, Johnson, and Brancatelli by department request. Authorize the Director of Capital Projects issue permit to Tremont West Development Corporation to encroach into the public right-of-ways with Tremont neighborhood by installing, using, and maintaining 22 bicycle racks.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Tremont West was awarded a grant from Tremont Track to procure and install bicycle racks along Professor Avenue. They're also looking at Scranton Avenue and West 14th for additional bike rack installations. We do have consent from Councilman McCormick for this enrichment.
Thank you, Councilman McCormick.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This piece is pretty straight up, but this is a project with Tremont West to ensure that we have high quality bike parking opportunities for folks in our community. Chair, as you are acutely familiar, the Tremont neighborhood, one of the most exciting things going on right now in the neighborhood is the towpath trail that is being built through the neighborhood and one of the critical connectors of the trail itself. So the neighborhood is very excited to have the access to the towpath directly for residents, for visitors, and our great local restaurants and food and beverage establishments. So this just complements, Chairman, the bike-friendly nature of Tremont and the multimodal connectivity of the neighborhood that we're very, very excited to see that towpath trail go through and all the progress being made on it. So this project complements that and provides great amenities for the neighborhood residents. Thank you.
And is there precise locations on all 22 of these bike racks? Is it throughout or mostly just along the towpath area?
No, there's a map of exactly where they are. I don't have it in front of me,
Okay.
but they're throughout the neighborhood.
Okay, great, thank you. Looking at any hands up, any questions on 557-2020? No questions. 557-2020 stands approved as read. Thank you very much. Next up, we have 592-2020 by Council Members McCormick, Johnson, Brancatelli, and Kelly by department request. Authorize the Director of Capital Projects or Public Works to enter into one or more agreements with the Cleveland Cuyahoga County Port Authority for improvements to Irish Town Bend and Franklin Avenue, authorizing the Commissioner of Purchase and Supplies to acquire, accept, and record all property necessary. Remarks by Director of Capital Projects, and this was approved already in Municipal Services and Properties and forward to DPS. Director?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is a two-part project. One is the Cleveland Cuyahoga County Port Authority's hill stabilization project. And the other part is the Franklin Road reconstruction project, which is owned by the county. So Irishtown Bend work includes stabilizing the hillside to prevent further landslides, replacing about 2,600 feet of deteriorated and dilapidated bulkhead retaining wall along the Cuyahoga River, repairing damaged Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District westerly intercept sewer, regrading of the hillside, and reconstruction of Franklin Avenue from West 25th Street down the hill to Columbus Road. The future Irishtown Bend includes proposed plans for a 17-acre park. Cleveland Cuyahoga County Port Authority is administering the design and construction of all of these improvements. Again, it's a two-phase project. The Irishtown Bend Hillside Stabilization Project is a $25.5 million project, of which the City of Cleveland's local share is $1 million. And the Franklin County reconstruction, which is again is a county road, is a $2.1 million project, of which Cleveland, City of Cleveland's local share is $429,800. So the design of this work is underway now and should be complete by the end of this year. And construction is scheduled to start in February of 2022. Any questions? Let us know.
Great. The design in 2021, construction 2022. Will there be any construction in 2021, or is it all scheduled for 2022?
The design is currently ongoing.
Okay.
Design is scheduled to be complete in December of 2020. And from January of 2021 through January of 2022, we will be doing permitting and bidding of the project.
So this is an incredibly complicated project. It's a $25 million project. Do we have all the land assembly needed for this project to move forward?
Yeah, so Councilman Commissioner DeRosa is on the call with us today. He can explain the site control and land acquisition.
So Councilman, there's two different parts of the project, as we mentioned. So for the hillside stabilization and for the park project, there are two properties on West 25th Street that are still outstanding. One is the Front Steps headquarters, which, as you know, they're building a new headquarters on Lorraine Avenue. So we're in negotiations and hopeful that we'll come to agreement on purchase of their property. And then the only other one is the building where the billboard is located, up at the top of the street by Detroit. And that is owned by an entity controlled by the Bobby George family, and that is still outstanding at this point. So those are the only two properties outside of what we need for the Franklin Road, which goes through CMHA property, which is where they have the urban farm. And so we've been in discussions with CMHA about either acquisition or a land swap with them, but we won't know exactly what we need until the roadway is designed. Okay.
And so the parking in front of the billboard building is owned by CMHA. And then the Riverside owns the buildings next to that building as well. So it's just that standalone building and the 4 spots behind it.
Yep, correct. All the parking that formerly was used by that building is not controlled by the building, so it makes it a tough, property to put in.
And there's still a dedicated street, Concord, which is also between the parking lot and that building.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Great. All right. Those were the only questions that I had, and I apologize if I stepped in front of Councilmember McCormick on this. Councilmember McCormick?
No worries, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. Fully support this legislation. There has been an incredible team of folks who are working on this project, from the city of Cleveland, the port, the metro parks, the county, the community. I mean, just, CMHA, there's just a huge team of folks who've been working on this project. Chair, I would say too, potentially over the next year, it might be worth it getting just a general overview of the project back in front of the committee. Obviously, as chair, your call, but I think it's a significant enough project where getting a general update would probably be beneficial for the council. But Chair, again, this is the Irishtown Bend Hillside, which for those who are not familiar, has stabilization issues and is, the threat of collapsing into the river. So this is not only a issue of stabilizing the hillside in a park, 17-acre riverfront park on West 25th Street. It's also an issue of ensuring the shipping channel that is used internationally is secure as well, for not only for the industrial shipping, but also for recreational users as well. So this is an all-around extremely important project. As is noted in the legislative summary, Mr. Chairman, this was awarded almost $9 million in federal grants, as well as a mix of other significant funding sources from the sewer district, the city, the state, NOACA, and others. So it has been like, piecing together funding on this, stacking it up until it gets to the point where it becomes a reality. But again, this is going to be, when it is finished, a riverfront park that is directly connected into two of our largest public housing properties on the near west side of the city of Cleveland, providing direct access to a high quality riverfront park for folks in the general community as well. So we're really excited about this, Chairman. It is going to be a fantastic public green space for the city of Cleveland. And just as a quick aside, this year you will hopefully, cautious on timelines, but this year you should see some of the demolition work happening this calendar year. So on some of the buildings on the top of the hillside that have been boarded up for probably, 5 or so years at this point, maybe less than that. But so you will see some action happen this year. But this piece is the all important stabilization in the Franklin Hill side as well. Another important note, Mr. Chairman, the Ohio City Farm is right along this stretch, and that will remain in the plan. So I just wanted to clarify that. Some folks reached out to me about the future of the farm. That will remain. And again, our CMHA properties will actually have direct access into this riverfront park, which is really exciting, and creates a new amenity, quite frankly, for folks in the community to have this riverfront access. And if you go down there now, obviously it's an unstable hillside. It's quite dangerous. So this project is really, really exciting, and I fully support this legislation. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councilman, and certainly I had the pleasure of participating in a number of the public meetings back when we were able to get together publicly, and it was just amazing to see the engagement from all walks of life for folks who really, when we talk about equity and community, we're really energized to keep this as part of our community and having access for all. It was very, very wonderful to see that kind of engagement from all forms of community. So,
absolutely, Chair. And I'll just add, I think there's an excitement in the general community about this. But when I go to the LAC meetings at Riverview and Lakeview, this is the question I get: what's the timeline? When is this happening? When is this park coming along? And it's hard to tell folks, look, we got to be patient. It takes a lot of different steps, but I just say that to say that folks, our residents are very excited about this.
And I know Director Collier has joined us, and he was part of those many meetings and all those additional hours put in. Great planning throughout. Director Collier, did you want to add anything on this?
No, I mean, what's to add to what's been said? This is a long time coming. There's work to do yet. But I believe that at the end of the day, when this happens, and we're going to claim that it's going to happen, when this happens, it's going to be transformative, not just for the immediate neighborhood. This is going to be a regional attraction. And we believe that it's going to bring life and vibrancy back to the Cuyahoga River Valley. And as you know, Cleveland has two waterfronts. We often talk about the lakefront, but the River Valley holds a lot of economic potential and a lot of direct benefits for the neighborhood. So I just want to echo what the councilman has said. You know, this is something that, you know, everyone is committed to. And I've been a part of a lot of planning processes, but I think this was truly a endeavor where there was all hands on deck, and there's a sustained commitment, you know, to getting this done. So congratulations on moving this another step forward.
Great. I have Councilman Bashir Jones.
Thank you so much, Chair, and congratulations to one of the hardest working council people, man, Kerry McCormick, man. You're doing a phenomenal job, brother, and you deserve it, man. This is really beautiful, man, for the city of Cleveland. Chair, I want to ask you a question, Chair, and to President Kelly, because I know that I can sound pretty redundant about certain things. I received something from the director in regards of timelines for projects, but it overall was really incomplete. I still don't, with the information that was given to me, I'm still not clear about what's going on in the ward in regards of at least some sense of timeline. So, Chair, is it okay that I ask the director a few questions about the information that was sent?
What I would suggest, Councilman Jones, if we may, and Director Sprons, can you guys, can we set up a separate session to walk through? Because I did receive that document as well. It is a complicated document when you start talking about timing from the very beginning all the way through. Unless you had just like one or two specific points, or if not, we can set up a separate session to walk through that document.
Yeah,
Well,
that'd be fine, Councilman. We can set up a time anytime.
Yeah. Well, Chair, I want to make it a practice, for the past couple years since I've been in office, I've tried my best to go about it in that way, and I'm still not getting what I'm looking for. So I'm making it clear that I'm going to be talking about this during our committees until we get it right. And I don't mind having that meeting. I'm sure some of my other colleagues feel the same way, but we need to have it. If we're going to have this meeting, led by our council president and yourself, Chair, I just need to get straight answers. And there's just the answers are not straight. And I just don't know. I mean, I think I have a couple projects happening, but I'm just not clear.
We hope so. Yeah.
I think so.
We hope so. Yeah. So I'll footnote with Joe Titron, who's on this meeting, we'll set up a Zoom meeting specifically to talk about that document and talk about walking through the projects specifically on the timelines and how those work.
And all I would ask, Chair, and I'll leave it at this. All I would ask is that when we come to this meeting, Chair and the director, that we have answers and it's not the same responses, which is. No,
we want to be specific.
I need specific, please, to the best of our.
And if you have a couple of projects that I think you gave example of last time, we can use those as examples as we're walking through.
Yes, sir. Like I have Kerry Kane Park. I've been telling the residents for over a year now that this is on the way, and I can't tell them. I have a community meeting tomorrow, and I can't tell them, when it's going to happen. So I mean, can we have this meeting fairly quickly?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you. Any further questions? Looking for any other hands up? 592, 2020. No further questions. 592, 2020 stands approved as read. Next, resolution 713, 2020 by council members McCormick, Cleveland, Bashir Jones, Brancatelli, and Kelly by department request, approving the expansion of the downtown Cleveland Improvement District, accepting the petitions from the owners of property in the proposed district as expanded, approving the amended articles of incorporation of the Downtown Cleveland Improvement Corporation, approving the comprehensive services plan for the continued operation of the district, declaring it necessary to provide for additional security, cleaning, maintenance, and economic development and marketing of the district, and providing for the assessment of the cost and expense of such work upon benefited property in the district and declaring an emergency. I I had a text Director Collier. I apologize for the notification. He got off the jogging path and ran home and got online. Director Collier? Unmute yourself, please. There
Just
we go.
make sure everyone fills out their census forms and all of your wards. So we're out today, hitting the pavement. But thank you for the notification. So this is the 2021 through 2025 renewal and expansion of the downtown SID. I'm pretty certain that all of council is familiar with how special improvement districts work. They're a really great asset for the city of Cleveland in making sure that we maintain the strength of our vibrant retail districts. This particular expansion has a number of points that I want to highlight. And Joe Marinucci, if you're on the line, if you can, unmute yourself, because he's going to speak to some of the nuances of this particular expansion. One of the things that I do want to highlight, the current annual budget for the SID that's going to begin in 2021 will have a 2% annual increase, resulting in an annual budget of about $5,276,289 by year 5 of the actual plan. The total district frontage to be assessed is 147,334 feet of frontage. Property owners representing 62.8% of the district's linear front footage have signed a petition requesting the city of Cleveland to renew the district. And the total number of parcels in the district is 1,665.
Wow.
The 2021 through 2025 renewal includes the inclusion of 232 additional parcels from the last renewal period from 2016 to 2020. And some of the actual services will include clean and safe services, business development and marketing initiatives, public square, management and administration, reserve discretionary funds as well, which makes up the 100% cost for the actual district. If I may share my screen, I can show you a map. Oh, only the host can do that.
Clerk, can you open up so the director can share screen, please?
He should be able to now.
Thank you. Hold on 1 second. Hang on. Let me know when you can see it. Can you see it?
Not yet.
Okay, hang on. Screen. So. One more second. Hang on, 2, 1. Okay.
There we go.
All right, hang on 1 second. I'm just pulling it up. Okay, can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So you can see the current boundary of the actual improvement district here in the top portion of the screen. And if you notice the boundary change, it basically incorporates westward into the flats and really into where you see Columbus Road here and the peninsula along the flats East Bank, as well as the actual Canal Basin Park area underneath. So you can see that sort of jog that goes to the bottom left of your screen. So this just kind of to give you some perspective with respect to the expanded area that this special improvement district is covering. So I'm going to turn it over to Joe so that he can actually explain even more detail about the actual expansion. Joe, are you on?
I am. Thank you, Director Collier, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Director Collier has done a nice job of giving you an overview. Just a couple things that I would add to his comments. In addition to the expansion of the geography of the Special Improvement District to include Old River Road and the Columbus Road Peninsula, the other thing I did want to highlight is the fact that we have committed through the assessment process a $400,000 allocation to Public Square. And specifically, those funds will be used for the programming, maintenance, and operations of the square. And in addition, beginning in 2021, the Alliance will use some of our additional resources actually to provide an additional $100,000. So from 2021 to 2025, we are committing through this process a $500,000 contribution annually to the square to, as you know, work with the City of Cleveland to provide the necessary funds, as well as working with the Group Plan Commission for the programming, maintenance, and operations of the square. When we look at this reauthorization, I would note this is the fourth time we've come before a council. We come every 5 years. In addition, I would note that the methodology that we've used is consistent with each of those years. So the assessment formula remains the same. Again, we respectfully request your consideration of this piece of legislation. And I would be remiss if I didn't note that Councilman McCormick, Councilman Jones, and Councilman Cleveland all represent portions of the district and been very active with us. And the council president actually sits on the Downtown Cleveland Improvement Corporation board representing all of council, and it works with us on an ongoing basis.
And you would be remiss if you didn't recognize that Audrey was also here with us during the meeting.
Yeah, Audrey is going to provide some technical assistance for me, but Director Collier and showed the map. So Audrey, thank you for joining us. So.
Which of the council members, would any of them would like to speak first? Councilman Cleveland, Councilman Jones, or Councilman McCormick?
Thank
Chair.
you, Mr. Chairman.
Councilwoman Cleveland.
Thanks. I'll just say that Director Collier and Mr. Marinucci have thoroughly explained the process. And this is, I think, my third one, right, Joe?
Yes.
Third time up. So, and the process is clear, it's consistent, and we have a majority of the property owners on board. And I think the process is so good is that, that other areas where we have SIDS, have followed this process, and it's been very successful. We know it doesn't work in every neighborhood for every community, but overall, I support this. I've got no objections from property owners in my ward, and I urge my colleagues to support this.
Thank you. Councilman Jones?
Thank you. Thank you. And these people, man, have been doing a phenomenal job. I had the opportunity to go to a couple of events and just see the work that they're doing, and the ability to transform. It's like, when you're going into downtown, it's a perfect way to begin. It's a perfect way to begin, and it's a sign of what's to come. And they just did a phenomenal job, man. And I've really appreciated working with them and the residents down there. Councilman McCormick is very lucky. It's not just his projects that he's lucky about, man. He has some serious residents who are very, very active, and business owners who are very, very active and truly want to see Cleveland become a better place. So Joe, man, I'm excited, man. I'm excited. And, my goal, Chair, is to see how can we, the impact that they're having there, how do we spread that influence more to the east side? How do we, we're having this impact here, and it's amazing and it's great and I love it and it has my full support. But I just, it hurts my heart sometimes that you can clearly see the difference when you driving into a new neighborhood. And so as I talk to Joe and all those great people down there, we have to figure out a way to spread out our influence. Unfortunately, when you do great, more people lean on you and want to figure out how to benefit from you. But that's the cost of being great, my friend. So congratulations, man. I has my full support, and hopefully I can get you guys support and really spreading your influence a little bit more further east to other communities. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilman Jones, and certainly thank you to Joe Marinucci, who does like to be that professor, and they have really helped other SIDS and other districts in giving great consulting and advice on that. Councilman McCormick.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I'll just echo my colleagues, Cleveland and Jones' remarks, and also, thank Joe and to your team and to the board. Thank you for all the hard work that you've put in, sleepless nights, elbow grease. I know it was not easy, especially during COVID, to make all this work. So I really want to thank Joe, you, your team, your board, and all the property owners who signed on to the SID renewal, and their commitment to the downtown community and to the neighborhood, as Councilman Jones so rightly said, and Councilwoman Cleveland as well. We've got a great group of residents downtown. We've got almost just about 20,000 folks that are living in downtown Cleveland. It's taken a while for us to get across that these are living, breathing City of Cleveland residents that love their city and contribute. And I think we're there, and we're getting there, right? Folks really realize and recognize downtown as a neighborhood, not only for the 100-some thousand people that come to work there at a normal time period, but also for the 20-some thousand that live downtown, call it their home, make it their home. And all you have to do is, as both council members are aware, is attend a residents meeting, and you'll see the passion, Mr. Chairman, of our downtown residents, and how they're really committed to the important issues in our community. So this renewal is critically important, Mr. Chairman, for the success of downtown Cleveland, continued success of downtown Cleveland. There's a lot of folks who are thinking about what does the next 1, 2, 3, 5 years look like for downtown in the city of Cleveland? How do we make it stronger coming out of the out of COVID, stronger than it was even before COVID? And there's no way we could have that conversation without this renewal. And so I'm just really thankful for all those who supported the renewal, who signed on to the renewal, to my downtown council colleagues who have been a part of this process as well. The mayor's administration, Chief Dumas. Chief Dumas has been a great point on this to make sure that everything is going swimmingly from the administration side. So I want to thank her as well on that. She's, that's not a surprise that she's killing it, but she was extremely helpful on this as well. So, Chairman, this is an important date for us and an important step on the future of this downtown Cleveland and ensuring that it continues to grow and thrive for the city of Cleveland. And yeah, it's great to see we've gotten to this point. And Chair, thank you for making sure that it aligned on the committee schedule too. I know that there was a lot of, especially with COVID, there was a lot of making sure trains were running on time and things were happening. And so thank you, and fully support this legislation.
Thank you. I thought we were going to have to do the Emmys and play some music to walk you off after thanking everybody.
I could keep going if you want me to. But...
Director Collier.
Yeah, the only thing I would add is that this signifies a certain level of resilience amongst downtown businesses. We've had a very challenging summer with respect to everything that's taken place, with respect to the social unrest, and things of that nature. And for this SID to continue to move forward, and the commitment to remain of property owners really, is a great signal, that people are all in for Cleveland, so this is why, this is an important piece, not just transactionally, but also I think symbolically, if you look at it, for what it is.
Great. Thank you. This is resolution 713-2020. Do I have any more questions on 713-2020? No further questions. 713-2020 stands approved as read. I know Director Collier, you have another meeting in 15 minutes. And I had to put up my census background. We had 5 pop-ups in the Broadway community in Councilwoman Cleveland's ward and my ward with Elizabeth Baptist, Neighborhood Pets, Daisies, Cats. A lot of great excitement out there doing these pop-ups, getting people to fill out their census forms. I want to thank you, Director, for your ambition and getting out there, getting those meeting notices on a pretty regular basis of all the great stuff that you're doing on pushing our census. Councilman Bashir Jones, did you have your hand up? Bashir, did you have your hand up?
No, Chair, that was earlier for
Okay.
our meeting that we're going to be
Okay.
having. Yes,
All right,
sir.
great.
I just want to say
I-
thank you to all of you who are pushing the census. This is really a very important, between census and voting. These are the ways in which we can actually help to make change. And I know Councilman Jones has been a staunch advocate, of really just community engagement and empowerment. And I think from this perspective, we have to get people voting and we have to educate folks about the importance of these very important civic duties. And this is no joke. And I think part of the transformation of, our democracy is going to rely on educating our kids in school so that this is in their DNA. We should not have to sell them on voting. We should not have to sell our population on filling out the census form.
Great, absolutely. Joe, did you have any final comments? Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much. This concludes our agenda for Development Planning Sustainability today, September 22nd. And we will see you all next week. Thank you.